Good day, welcome to the Automotive Dad, and welcome to the 2025 Mercedes-Benz Vito. Now, when you think of Mercedes-Benz, you probably think of something like an S-Class or a C63, but there is more to the brand than that. There has been something shaping the brand for decades.
Back in the 1950s, Mercedes introduced their very first van, the L319. It wasn't glamorous, but it was tough, built to carry goods across the post-war Europe. It became the backbone of small businesses, tradespeople, and even emergency services.
Then came vans like the TN. Practical, cost-effective, reliable.
But in the 1990s, everything changed with the Sprinter. Suddenly vans weren't just about hauling boxes. They became smarter, safer, and far more comfortable. The Sprinter set a new standard across the world.
It wasn't just a van anymore, it was mobility reinvented. And that's when people started to take notice. Something big, comfortable, reliable, family-friendly, something that had all the Mercedes quirks and safety and features that they wanted in a car, but into something bigger and more family-friendly. Then it really became about the freedom, the lifestyle change, the van life change. A vehicle that could kind of do your daily working week, your errands, your runs, your school trips, but also do your family adventures, your road trips, and everything under one guise. So where does the Vito come into this? So this is a 2025 Vito. This is a 119 crew. So it means that in this configuration, it's got 6 seats. The 119 means it's the highest output out of that 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, 190 horsepower, around about 440 newton meters of torque. This one has a 9G-tronic automatic box, which is exceptionally smooth. This is a very versatile vehicle which has loads of technology, and in this guise, exactly as you see it, costs around about £60,000 on the road, including VAT. This is a vehicle which so easily fits into your family daily life, your work days, but then stick some camping equipment in the back, or even a blow-up bed, or convert the back ever so slightly so that you can have all of your tools and essentials, but you can also stick a mattress on top of it. Suddenly this van becomes more than just a vehicle, becomes a member of a family. So join me as we have a look around the 2025 Mercedes-Benz Vito, and I show you just why I think out of all of the competitors, and I know that the Transporter has been van life forever, I think the Vito is going to change that, because the Sprinter definitely has for bigger conversions. So join me in the front. Now, the front end of the Vito for this generation has had the biggest update, because it doesn't really look like a passenger van anymore. It's closer to a V-Class than ever before. Sleek, stylish, nicely designed. These headlights, multi-beam LEDs, some of the most advanced lights I've ever seen on a van. Nice big Mercedes grille to let people know you're driving a 3-prong star Benz. But the front is sleek, aerodynamic, sporty, nicely put together. Alpine grey, free colour, lots of colours to choose from, but they're all free. And I like this colour the most because I honestly think it hides dirt the best of any colour I've ever seen. This van is disgusting. It's been down farm tracks, it's done about 1,000 miles in the UK when it has been torrential rain every single day, going here, there and everywhere, and it's barely showing the dirt. But yeah, front end, it's sleek, it's designed well, and it's very Mercedes-Benz. Now, side profile wise, there's no denying that this is a very long van. This is the longest length Vito that you can get. But it isn't a boring design. There are still nice aerodynamic lines, and for a big, effectively slab-faced brick of a thing, they've made it not boring to look at. Now, alloys-wise, these are 17-inch diamond-cut alloys. There are 3 wheel choices to go from, which you can choose from your Select or Pro. Select being the most basic one, Pro being the highest. And out of the high spec there's literally this and the multi-spoke alloy, which I kind of prefer. However, for me, these still look, even at 17 with a lot of chunk on them, a little bit small for the van. If you made these 19s with a bit of chunk as well, I think they would hugely suit the van and kind of finish off that overall, dare I say it, stance of the vehicle. But the side profile, whilst long, relatively sweeping, not totally boring, and well done. Making the side of a van look anything more than a side of a van isn't easy. Mercedes are giving it a good shot, and I think they've done really well. Now, the back of the van, not a boring place at all. Nice LED tail light design, nice cut-ins and general door design. The bumper design looks really cool. And quite simply, it says, I'm a Vito, I'm a 119, I'm a diesel. Nothing massive to shout about here. This rear door design is pretty much the only thing that kind of tells you it's not a V-Class, because V-Classes don't have a door like this. They have a bit more of a, I don't know, a bit more sleek, smaller glass. But the whole back end just isn't totally boring. The whole van's pretty well designed. And when you put it up against the competition, it just looks, I guess, luxury, a bit prestige. And that's exactly what Mercedes are going for with their general design. Now, when you get in, it's the big moment of, vans have really changed a lot in the last few years, because when you get in, whilst this has a few options on it, doesn't feel like you're getting into a van. So, first of all, you've got a nice big screen in front of you as a driver, giving you lots of information and relatively adaptive to change the information that you get. Haptic touch buttons on the steering wheel, not the biggest fan of these. A lot of brands are now moving away from them because they're just a little bit meh. But when you manage to get them to function, they are okay. I don't mind those. Everything's relatively at the fingertips. Most stuff is still actual buttons. It's not hidden away in an infotainment. However, if you do need to go on the infotainment, it's a 10.25-inch infotainment screen. It's including Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, etc., etc. The sound quality from the inside is good. If you go for the winter pack, you do get things like your heated seats, which are very good, heated steering wheel. Your dynamic select down here is easy to use and navigate and decide what you need to do. If you go for airmatic suspension, when you put it into off-road mode, click down there, the van will raise up. The actual driver amenities in here are very, very good. And effectively, this van can almost drive itself on the motorway so long as you're still holding onto the steering wheel. It has blind spot monitors. It has the best headlights I've ever experienced in a van, which second time I've said that, that's how good they are. But the whole front end of this is relatively spacious. Some people said the cabin feels cramped, but actually this is a nice size. It doesn't feel cavernous, but it is cavernous. There are cubby holes everywhere for everything, a good amount of cup holders, storage everywhere in the front. It's well thought out. I guess the only thing that I would say is that to make it even more family friendly, to have ISOFIX on these front seats would be really, really cool, because you could quite easily turn off the airbag and have at least one ISOFIX seat here. But it's nice to be in the front, and it doesn't feel like a van. Join me in the kids zone. Now, the back end, the kids zone, is gargantuous, is cavernous. Straight away, you do have two ISOFIX plugs, which are on, as you're looking at the van, the right-hand side and the middle. One seat doesn't have ISOFIX, it's because that's the seat that goes forward. In conversations with my local dealer, they did seem to think you can spec it so that that seat doesn't go forward, so you can have three ISOFIX, but they couldn't confirm they'd ever seen one, but they did seem to think it was doable. However, not the end of the world if you've got one that's on a belted R129 seat, like the one that I've got in there, and then loads and loads of room, loads of leg room, loads of headroom, easy to access. The downside being that there aren't really plugs back here. In fact, there are no plugs back here. The speakers are in the back or front, so this area kind of misses out. So for people in the middle, you end up having to crank the sound a bit more. However, there is ventilation, but it is at your feet. It's not been put in the headlining like some other brands like Kia have done, where it's a big area to cover, so let's put it via the headboard of the vehicle. But otherwise, it's comfortable, well suited to family, and just very Mercedes in its quality. The doors don't feel cheap to open and shut, and they feel like they're actually going to stand the test of time. Things like last generation Transit, after X amount of time, the doors literally come off the runners. And in fact, 2 generations ago, Sprinters and Vitos suffered with that no end. However, these newer generation are far better. Look, if you're really rough with the doors, it's going to happen. But if you look after them, they're going to look after you, and they're going to last a long, long time. Now join me in the back, because it's literally like having your own private garage. And the back end is, it's literally a garage. You can have multiple prams fully set up in the back here, not folded down. I'm not talking like these little Casato whooshes. I'm talking about big eye candies, and they can just stay up. It's hilarious. You literally don't have to pack anything down anymore. But that then continues to the lifestyle part of this, because you can so easily have all of your normal working equipment in here and your family stuff, and then other stuff to go away with. If you were to do a slight conversion in the back here, you could have an area to put all of your tools, which can be secured and hidden away, an area to keep all of your luggage, and then on the top of it you could stick a mattress, which, with the size of the rest of the vehicle and slight adaptations here and there, turns this into a literal house on wheels. The only thing it wouldn't have is a toilet. And when you travel around Europe, you know there are toilets and showers rife everywhere, so you don't really need to worry too much about that. It's easy to get into, the load height's great. It is a massive rear door, and that's the only consideration, is that it does open quite a long way. Great when it's raining because you can hide underneath it, although you do end up getting a bit wet when you close it. But this just kind of continues with my whole, this is a lifestyle van. It's not just a van, it's not a work tool, it's not a family car, it's an everything. It does everything, and it does it really well. Now, years ago, if you'd said to me, you're going to drive a van and you're going to like it, and you're actually going to prefer driving a van to a car, I would have said you're crazy. Vans don't drive that well. Well, Mercedes have kind of revolutionised that game a long time before anyone else. Whilst a lot of brands were dealing with emissions scandals and various other geopolitical issues, Mercedes-Benz were concentrating on making their vans as good as possible. And that's why when the new generation Sprinter came out, literally everyone went, wait a minute, this van doesn't drive like a van, this van drives like a car. The Vito shortly after followed with a upgrade of gargantuous drive proportions. Now this one's powered by a 2-litre diesel engine. Being the 119, it's got 190 PS, 440 newton meters of torque. Now, top speed wise is a bit of a question mark. It's a commercial vehicle, but on the Autobahn, you should very, very easily see over 120 miles an hour. 0 to 60 wise, you're going to see roughly about 10 seconds, slightly less depending how much weight you've got on, slightly more depending if you've got lots in there. The 9G-tronic automatic box is silky smooth and easy to use. Responsive, works well with the throttle. The second you touch the throttle, the 9G-tronic box has immediately jumped into life. The brakes have a reasonable feel, at times ever so slightly commercial van-y still, but not as bad as they are in some competitors. It doesn't really feel like a van that much. Now, economy-wise, they claim that you can get up to 38 miles per gallon. Well, that's a lie. You can get more. See, stick yourself on the motorway at 62 miles an hour, and the van excels, sits at about 55 miles per gallon. As a combined cycle, I saw 44 miles per gallon out of it. And at the worst urban cycle, I saw about 33 miles per gallon out of it. And for a van of this size, with this much get up and go, I'm sorry, but that's incredible. When you drive this, it just doesn't feel like a commercial vehicle in the slightest. It feels like a refined van car. It feels like an MPV. In fact, it's going closer towards a V-Class than a V-Class, which is weird, because a van shouldn't drive better than a passenger car, surely. Well, Mercedes-Benz are making that happen. The drive of this is just comfortable, nice, visibility is good. All the driver essentials, driver aids are amazing. The headlights, which are punchy and adaptive, incredibly bright, and will drop out the pixels as it needs to when you come up behind a car or a car comes the other way. Fully adaptive, incredibly bright. Forward collision assist. Reverse camera on this one, you can spec in a 360 camera if you want it. And the drive is just so good. Mercedes-Benz have always made exceptional vehicles, but their commercial vehicles often drove like commercial vehicles, and that wasn't a problem. But as people spend more time on the road and the world is getting bigger and more accessible, it's nice to have commercial vehicles that don't feel so commercial. And I guess you would also say that as lifestyles change and people are using these as lifestyle vehicles, they want them to be even more comfortable for those massive road trips all over Europe. And honestly, I would happily pack the family in this and drive it down to Sicily. It's that easy to drive. and easy to navigate, and the width isn't too wide, and yeah, exceptionally good drive. So is this an exceptionally good van? Yes. Fuel efficient, reliable, fast, nice to drive. Is it a good family car? Yes. Fuel efficient, spacious, nice to drive, regardless of the size, easy to park, suitable for whatever family tasks you put at it. And from a lifestyle vehicle, is it good? Yes, it is very, very good. Looks the part, drives well, fuel efficient, comfortable, reliable, well built. So many tick boxes. This is a vehicle which could literally do everything you want of it, all except going off-road. And even then you could stick BF Goodrich all-terrains on and it would do what it needs to do. It's not going to be as capable as a four-wheel drive van. However, in the UK, this is not available as four-wheel drive. Sad face. Because otherwise, this would be like okay, it literally does everything. So Mercedes have done exceptionally well with the styling, the drive, and the practicality. The Vito is a change of definition of what a crew van is, because no longer is a crew van a utility vehicle which has a bit of family use. This crew van is now a lifestyle essential because it does everything, literally everything, without question, super easy. And yeah, £60,000 on the road, not cheap, but equally by today's standards, that's also not a lot of money either.